Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be talking about one of the newer trends ever since the most recent patch. Now, the change they made to Lina in the most recent patch is they buffed her shard very slightly. However, it is technically a 25% buff. They made it go from 20 damage, more per each stack, to 25. And that doesn't seem like a big deal, but you have to consider that when you have 7 stacks, that's a bonus 35 extra damage for 3 nukes, right? So that's 105 bonus damage on your combo. And on top of that, when you have the facet thermal runway, when you click your ultimate, you go all the way up to 12 stacks. And so you get even more damage from this shard, and the buff begins to matter more and more. And in general, this shard is just really good. If you've never read it and you have no clue what it is, basically when you have 7 stacks of Fiery Souls, you get 175 more damage per nuke. That's your Q, your W, and your ulti. And you have to keep in mind, at level 10, you get a 3.5 second Dragon Slave cooldown facet, or talent, sorry. I always mix them up now. And that means that this shard is just crazy damage output. It always has been. It's been good for a while. My friend Albino has been raving about this shard for forever. And yeah, now it's just better, so people are kind of picking up on it. And let's get into it.
On top of that, go sign up to the gameleap website, guys. I'm posting new content over there almost every day, and I'll see you there.
Okay, so to quickly break down the laning stage, this hero is a very good laner. You have very good stats outside of movement speed. And so the main thing you want to do is you skill your Q. You can occasionally skill W against melee heroes or low-ranged ranged heroes like TA and Storm, because basically you can harass them with it, right? You can stun them, hit them twice, and it's pretty good for that. So against melee heroes, you can skill stun, but in general, I think it is much better to skill the Q. And the main reason for that is you're going to skill your E at level 2 always. You're going to skill your E, and your E gives you attack speed and movement speed per enemy hit, including creeps, with your spells. It's easier to hit all the creeps in the hero with the Q, much easier than it is to hit with the W, especially if you're trying to hit heroes at the same time. So yeah, the Q is far more reliable, especially against Zeus. It's no-brainer in this game to skill Q, then E, and then Q. And so yeah, you're going to auto-attack quite a lot. It's generally good to keep the lane slightly pushed, which is very hard to do against Zeus, because it's Zeus. He pushes the wave faster than almost any other hero. But yeah, you can notice using his very high attack range, 670. Lane's attack range is 70 higher than the average range hero. And as a result, you can get in a lot of cheeky auto-attacks. And the best way to do that is to issue attack commands from outside of creep aggro range. So basically right here, if he backs up from this position, if he clicks on the Zeus, because he's out of aggro range of all of these creeps, the aggro range is about here, he's standing outside of that, he'll be able to hit the Zeus a couple of times before pulling aggro, and that's really OP, and that's what he's doing here, right? You see how he hits the Zeus twice, and none of the creeps aggro to him until he walks into them, which probably was a mistake. Right, if you walk melee range, they will aggro to you. But the reason why that worked is because he issued it from out of aggro range. And so at this point, basically he uses 1 nuke on the first melee creep to get the stacks up, and then again a second nuke on the range creep. And this is the best way to lane because it's going to get you to that 7 stacks pretty consistently. In terms of items, he has an early stick because he's against Zeus. He has bottle, then he's going to be buying wand because he's against Zeus. I don't recommend that. I think it's better to stay at stick and buy a early null. Just kind of get that mana regen going, and maybe even get a range drop as well. I think these 2 items, just kind of getting the mana regen as fast as possible, is really, really good. Now, in terms of skill build, look at this. Skipping the W. And you might be like, wow, that's kind of crazy. You're a magic damage Lina. But in the lane, and even up to the early mid game, you don't really want to view yourself that way. You actually want to look at yourself almost strictly as a farming hero. So what is he going to do? Well, yeah, he's going to farm. That's what I just said, and he's almost only going to farm. He makes 1 TP rotation to bottom. We'll see that play out, but for now, let's skip ahead. Okay, notice his items as well. 2 clarities, no talisman. Again, I like raindrops. I think it's really nice, especially if you're against heroes like Void Spirit that are going to try to jump on you and kill you. Against Zeus, it's a little weird to buy raindrops because he pokes them so easily, but against like Storm and Void Spirit, I think it is really good, these jump mids, to buy raindrops for a bit of mana and for a lot of survivability. Once you're level 5, you start to jungle much quicker. And that's what he's doing. You jungle really, really fast because level 2 E gives you, I mean, I don't even know the exact number. It's like 100 attack speed, which is insane. Gets the bottom rune, pops a clarity, gonna shove the wave. Didn't actually skill his ulti. I don't know exactly why you would hold the point. Either you should skill your E so you farm as fast as humanly possible, or you should skill your ult. I don't think there's much of a situation where you're going to skill your stun per se, just because the ulti gives you those 10 stacks. This is something they actually nerfed when this year was a broken carry. Funny enough, Nuke Lina actually got nerfed a bit because of carry Lina. Sad. But yeah, it makes a TP rotation bottom here. I don't think you should TP until you at least have boots. And I think especially until you have ulti, especially with this skill build, no point in stun. He's very reliant here on the ET dropping a blood grenade to close the gap. But, oh, the ET, does he have E? Yeah. The ET is a big part in the Lina this game. We're going to talk about that combo. But the magic damage from ET Lina is ridiculous. Yeah, other than that, he actually has 3 points in his E. And again, this might seem insane. It might seem counterintuitive to a magic damage Lina build. But you don't want to view this hero as a ganker. If you view this hero as a ganky hero, you will not hit the ridiculous timings that is Ags plus Shard. The point of this hero now is to farm Ags Shard. You can respond to dives, especially if you happen to get a rune, but for the most part, the goal is to farm. Look at his skill build. E, maxed out. Yeah, and I actually recommend this. I think sometimes 3 points and late point in the stun is nice, because at this point in the game, supports are going to start to get ultis, they might run at you. So if you're afraid of the game picking up in pace a bit, then yeah, I think skipping 1 point in the E for stun at this point is a good idea. But early on, no, definitely don't take the stun early on. It just hurts your farming capability by way too much. Okay, one other thing to talk about, besides the fact that I just want to say, again, he has not rotated a single time. Okay, he considered a rotation here, but didn't do it until the 11-minute mark. 1 TB bot. Other than that, just farming. 111 CS. If you want a CS goal, 10 per minute, at minute 11, 12, it's a hard goal. It really depends on, he got some stacks this game. Some he made for himself, some were made for him. But next thing I want to talk about, neutral item. The best item you can get is Trusty Shovel. The second best item, I believe, is Royal Jelly, and I would take one of those two every single game. Why is Shovel the best? It's the simple reason that when you dig the shovel in the river, you always get a water rune. It's just overpowered. Like, honestly, that mechanic, ever since they added it to the game, is just straight up broken. I mean, so much so to the point that I think if supports get Shovel, they should both take it and just dig runes for the mid. In fact, Shovel's good without this mechanic. Yeah, so the ET digged it here, right? He walks over mid, he's like, oh, Lina's coming to farm here. Here's a free water rune, which is like, how much mana? 60 mana, which is a lot considering you can drop your mana items, right? So it can be way more efficient. I hope he does that. Yep, he did it. He did do it there. And then you can, and then bottle is what? Also 60. Yeah, so it's just 180 mana. An item like Arcane Ring can just never contest 65 mana to all nearby allies. It's a third of the mana, and yes, it's technically AoE, but Shovel gives you 90 health, and it's a 40-second cooldown, right? It's a much lower cooldown. It's just completely overtuned. I think Shovel is quite broken, honestly, in its current state, mainly because of the water runes. You just have to play with your mid. Okay, so something that's a little weird to me is that he skips the 10 talent. I believe the reason why is mana problems. I genuinely think that is why. It's just very mana intensive to try to use a 4.5 second cooldown Q, and so instead you conserve a bit of mana skilling the W. Even though it does increase in mana cost, you get that W cooldown down. You skill the ulti, right, which again goes up in mana. But still, right, you want these things. You obviously want level 2 ulti. It increases the damage, the supercharged stacks, and the cooldown. All right, so let's see the first usage of the Axe. If you don't know Lina Axe, let me quickly explain it. Basically, it gives you a new ability, 8-second duration, 35% magic resist. So you won't die to Zeus or Muerta, and you get 35% spell amp. Plus, you can fly over trees, and something I didn't know is that it grants max fiery soul stacks. So that has a lot of synergy with the Shard. So yeah, this Axe is incredible. It just does a lot of things. And most importantly, it only costs 50 mana, and it's a 25-second cooldown, very low cooldown. So you can be super active. It makes you really tanky, gives you a lot of stats, a lot of burst damage, free pathing, max movement speed, because of the fast set. I mean, it's incredible. And he actually goes in here. Oh, this is without the Axe. It was actually on cooldown. Just one-shots the Naga. Doesn't even need the 35% amp. And this is before the shard, which is why you can imagine, you know, if a hero like Naga is going to die and he has a cloak, comically enough, right? If the cloak Naga dies, a lot of people will die when you have shard plus the ags, because these things just all stack on top of each other. So eventually at the very odd level of level 14, he skills Dragon Slave cooldown. Why he decided to do it then, I don't know. It's kind of odd. At level 15, you take Light Strike array damage, more magic damage. You can see why people want to play this hero as a nuker. He now has his shard, and yeah, at this point you buy BKB. I think anyone who buys other items is playing a really risky game. I mean, you just want to be able to get your combo off and not instantly get counter-initiated on and die. Because it's a 25-second cooldown, you can get it off twice in a team fight pretty reliably, right? And as a result, you want these long, drawn-out fights. I mean, after all, your Q is a 4.5-second cooldown. You know, you can spam the heck out of this ability. Another thing to keep in mind, you need to pop clarities all the time, guys. You will run out of mana if you're not picking up runes and you're not buying clarities. Like, you have no chance of being able to cast all of your abilities. And that is definitely why he was skipping that 10th talent. Like, you will have mana problems. All right, now I want to play a quick game with you guys. Does the Naga Siren have a pipe? All right, a little mini game. This is the real Naga. That's the stun damage. Does Naga have a pipe? Now you might be able to guess yes, because why would I ask you this question if she didn't have a pipe? But that's a pipe hero. That guy had a pipe. Now to be fair, let's quickly talk about the ET combo. You don't understand Elder Titan. When his spirit is on someone, they actually don't get armor reduction. They only get magic resist reduction. The armor reduction is tied to the hero. The magic resist reduction is tied to the spirit. And so if you put the spirit on someone, they take magic amp. Or they have 0% base magic resist. Items like Pipe actually are really good against ET because they give you magic resistance, which is not reduced by Natural Order. Natural Order counters the base 25% magic resist that the majority of the Dota cast has. And so in this position, this Naga is actually particularly good against this combo, but still gets one shot. Because this combo is really absurd. It is really, really absurd. ET Lina and things like ET Zeus straight up break the game. You can one-shot heroes that have 3k health. Like, pretty consistently. Because of how well everything stacks. The Ags, the Shard, the talents, right? And then, of course, ET's Aura. And on top of that, ET's Aura deconstruction has been majorly buffed. Recently, in the most recent patch, they made it where it does not instantly go away. How it works is, for every second your Order is on them, they get armor reduction and magic resist reduction. And previously, it would go away instantly when you left the radius. Now it ticks down 1 per second. And so it lingers super long. Meaning heroes like Lina can come in and actually blow up heroes that you were on, right? That your spirit was on top of. So yeah, this hero is just way, way, way better. And I believe ET combos are really underrated right now. I mean, because of how good deconstruction really is with these heroes. All right, so for his next item, he keeps up Lincoln's. Things like Aether Lens are really good. Blink is really good. You just want to buy things that keep you in position and allow you to use your spells safely. So Lincoln's, Blink, Aether, Yules are all really good. I think things like Kaya, even though they're tempting, Kaya can be okay if the game is slow paced and you're farming a lot, then you really want Kaya. But if you're not, you want defensive items. I would say Kaya is not good in the pro scene most of the time because it's too slow, but in a pub game, it might be good. So in this team fight, this is a funny one. I mean, this Ursa has 2k HP, and you'll see it in this clip here. I love this clip. It just perfectly represents ET Lina. I mean, and I don't want to undersell Lina. Lina alone one-shots 2k HP heroes. Like, don't get it twisted. You will often one-shot a 2k HP Ursa if he doesn't have Enrage or BKB, right? And so in this clip here, he gets jumped, kites with the cloak, gets Pavist, which is really nice. Or I guess, no, he didn't. He got piped. Okay. Ursa Enrage is going, and they do a really good job of kiting it here. He actually had BKB, but he didn't pop it. Probably because he thought he was fine with this Enrage going. I mean, that's why, man, Thunder's, what decision making to RP an Enraged Ursa, knowing they could burst him before the BKB went off, is pretty unbelievable. And look at this Laguna. Couldn't get his BKB off. I mean, what HP range was that? And to be fair, yeah, this isn't all Lina. A lot of this is Earth Spirit in this case, just to highlight that a bit, but still. Actually, was the spirit even out? Or was it on cooldown? Oh, it might have been on. Oh, it was on cooldown. So no, this was all Lina. Oh boy, yeah. 1500 HP. Gone. With no amp in that case. Nothing was amping. And there's plenty of items that can amp. There's neutral items that amp. He got Grove Bow, that can amp. Neutral items amp, Shiva's amps, Kaya amps. Doesn't have any of these things. So it can get better than this. And on top of that, in terms of talents, I would say at 20, you take Laguna Blade cooldown. And at 25, this one's a little tough. Because crit on target affected spells is really good. It's more of a right-click Lina talent, which is why Laguna Blade damage barrier is probably a bit better. Just because it's nice staying alive. With magic build, yeah, you want to be tanky. But both are good, especially if you end up scaling. Like, late game Lina will right-click hard because you're just a high level and you have a billion attack speed. You know, so it's kind of tough. I actually think both are probably equally as good. But yeah, I guess the level 25, Laguna Blade cooldown. Queues up a Shadow Blade next in your pubs. If you want to solo kill people, buy Shadow Blade. It's just so you can run down side lanes, find people. Team fight here, initiation comes out. He actually missed his stun on the Beastmaster there, so bit of an awkward position. Definitely gonna have to kite a bit. Oh yeah, I remember this team fight. The splitter plus, how much damage did this Lina Q do actually? Because you think like the Lina Q isn't that big of a deal, but it's just like a 500 damage nuke. Yeah, it's something like that. I think it's like, yeah, I think it's about 500. If your cloak is going, it's like more than 500. Absurd. And so yeah, first next item, he actually ends up queuing up E-Blade, which I love on this hero. I think E-Blade's really, really awesome because the build-up is super cool. You could actually use Ghost Scepter during BKB now. And so the build-up to E-Blade is Ghost Scepter and Aether Lens. Aether Lens, of course, is good. It's just cast range. And then Ghost Scepter is really the main way Lina dies is not magic damage because you're going to have a BKB, so you don't die to spells and don't get control. And then your cloak is magic resist, right? So you just need some armor. But, I mean, yeah, you can try to get a neutral item that has armor. It's a good idea. You can do, like, Craggy Coat. Or you can just buy a Ghost Scepter. And it works during BKB, so you don't have to worry about that. So, yeah, E-Blade's definitely a really good item. But alright, that's going to be all for today's video. Definitely give this hero a shot in your pubs. Be very greedy in the early game. If there's one thing I can suggest, buy the Ags, buy the Shard. That's your main timing. And be greedy in the early game. Guys, if you're playing with Lina mid, you see it picked. Don't play greedy side laners. Don't pick Anti-Mage and expect to have this guy roaming. It's not good. It won't feel good. He's not going to create early tempo. If you see Lina, it's better to play carries that can sit in their lane. Heroes like Morphling, Dragonite, heroes that jungle effectively and can just kind of do their own thing. Don't pick heroes that need to sit in the lane. Heroes like Spectre that want their mid to get active and connect to. Don't pick heroes like Slark who need to sit in their lane, or PA. These are all very risky picks with Lina. I would not suggest it. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the gameleap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!